Hello, everybody, and welcome to the TeacherCast Educational Broadcasting Network, your home for professional development. My name is Jeff Bradbury, and you are listening to the Tech Educator Podcast for Tuesday night, March 21st. That's right, we're here live every single Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, only on TeacherCast.tv. Today, we're going to be finishing off our next chapter of Microsoft March as we celebrate Microsoft Office. We have three amazing guests from the Microsoft Education team talking to us today about all the great things that you can do with Microsoft Office. We're going to be talking a little bit about PowerPoint, a little bit about Excel, a little bit about Word, things that you can do with your students to create an amazing digital classroom. I want to bring on our co-host from the Tech Educator Podcast, Sam Patterson. You just came back from the Q conference. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Very grateful to be back in my classroom.
How was the conference? I saw you were all over the place, and I saw Walker was too.
You know, we had a great time at the conference, met a lot of people. We spent a lot of time at the unconference table hacking a dinosaur.
What does that mean?
We actually took a toy from the movie The Good Dinosaur that when you buy it, you press a button and it walks forward and it says phrases from the movie. And we cut the original chip out. And now we're halfway through replacing that with a programmable chip so that we can control the dinosaur.
That is pretty cool. We should definitely do a blog post on that sometime over on My Paperless
There's
Classroom.
going to be some work on that. It's Open Arlo is the name of that project.
Nice. Looking forward to all that. From the great country of California to the great country of Massachusetts. Jennifer, how are you tonight?
I'm great. Good to see you guys tonight.
It is so nice to see you. Did you get snow at all recently, Jen?
Oh, seriously. I want to be done. 18 inches last week, Jeff.
Yeah, that's about what we got here, and it was 65 or something like that today. It's at home, and we still have about 14 inches of snow on the ground.
We got some melting to do.
How is everything going on teachingforward.net?
Great. No, things are going great, and just had a couple conferences over the last couple weeks, so just like Sam's saying, it's just good to be back focused on doing some work with students in the classroom this week.
Excellent. We have a great show today. Today we're talking to the Microsoft Office team, talking about some of the neat things that are happening in Office 365. I want to introduce Mr. Nick Simmons. Nick, how are you today? Welcome to the show.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a programmer manager. I work on Office Online. I work on the sort of core infrastructure and a lot of our partner programs, and I work on our service side as well. And I've worked at Microsoft for 18 years, and I live in Redmond, Washington.
That is awesome. How are things in Redmond these days?
At this very moment, not raining, so excellent.
Very, very cool. Thank you for coming on the show. Looking forward to hearing a lot more about the great things happening in Office. Also want to bring on Ms. Morin Gutmann. How are you today, Morin?
Hey, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm program manager in Office Online, working specifically on Excel Online. I was working on accessibility, improving our accessibility support in Excel Online, and on the great education world, how we can drive more technology features and helping and training teachers how to use Excel and Office in general.
I am so looking forward to some of the things that you're going to be sharing. I know in my school district, all of our staff loves using Excel and all the great features there. So I'm certainly interested in learning a few tips and tricks of what we can do these days in Excel. Also want to bring on the show today, Ms. Poonam Gupta. Poonam, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Hope you're all doing well too.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Poonam Gupta. I have worked with Microsoft in Beijing for about 4 years now, focusing on PowerPoint Online.
Excellent. And what is new in the world of PowerPoint these days?
Oh, we're doing a bunch of new stuff with intelligent services. I don't know if you've heard about Designer and Morph. So we're trying to make creating new material on slides very easy, make your slides presentable without you having to do a whole lot of work.
And, you know, I like those features, and it's certainly there's a lot of neat features that are coming out. We're going to talk about a lot of the stuff. We're going to do some demos. We have a lot of neat things happening here. I want to see if we can start off the show today by clarifying a few things. And maybe you guys get this question a lot, but when I hear about Office, I hear about something called Office 365, and then I also hear of another version of Office. Is it true that there's two or more different versions of Office. One maybe that's a standalone, and one that's a subscription services. Can you guys help us figure out what we're looking at here?
So I think I can help. So Office 365 is what we call our subscription service. There's a consumer version and there's an enterprise version that we also make available for educators and in educational scenarios, so for schools. And additionally, if you want, we also sell Office in a more traditional way, where we are actually selling it to you and you buy it like you used to, and you get a piece of software and you download it and it's yours. The subscription service comes with a bunch of benefits. There's a terabyte of OneDrive storage. There's constant updates, and once you're part of the service, then we're regularly updating the product and adding new features. Whereas with the more traditional model, which we call internally, we call it the perpetual SKU, but it's essentially pay once and you get a product, but that product doesn't ever evolve or change, and it's not nearly as cloud connected and service connected.
You know, I am a subscriber of Office 365. I also have checked off the box for, I forget, is it called Rapid Release or the Insider Program, to get all the latest and greatest updates. And I love all the neat things that are going on here. And I got to ask you guys, let me start with you, Nick. What is the latest and greatest with Office? What are some of the things that are really on the cutting edge? I know you guys are leading the way when it comes to inking and using, pens and Surface tablets and stuff. What is exciting in the world of Office these days?
Well, so, I mean, do you want to know what we're doing now, or do you want to know what's coming?
Ooh, let's what do you think? Let's do a little bit about what's now, because that's the stuff that teachers can access right these days, but I definitely want to get into what's coming.
Well, I think the stuff that I'm excited about talking about, and I think that everyone, so there are new features in Office. So Office Online being sort of the area that we're most focused on. So I'll try to focus on Office Online. There's a bunch of new features across the product suite that we've just released that we're going to demo today. Some of them have been out for a little while, but are now dramatically improved. And there are some really new features around, say, like we have a feature called Editor that allows you to get much more feedback on your writing. So it actually helps you improve the quality of your writing and helps you correct mistakes. So something spell check, but essentially on steroids. And so that's a new feature that we just are rolling out now that we can demo today. That's available, I think I'm not sure if it's even in the first release program, but we will. But I think I'm not sure. Poonam will actually know for sure. Also, something that I'm working on right now, extremely hard, is getting more integration with learning management systems. So we have a pilot program that we're doing with Edmodo, where we've got deep integration with Office Online with their assignment and grading workflows, so that we are actually able to enable scenarios where you can go and use Edmodo, and a student can go directly to an assignment, click one button, and there's no file management at all. All they have to do is click a button, and they're immediately in the browser, able to type in Word, Excel, or PowerPoint. And then when they're done, there's a button right in the UI that allows them to hand that assignment in. And all of that is in the browser, no client software required, no need to like download a file or move a file to some other storage location. All of that just happens seamlessly right in Edmodo, and we're working with other partners as well to roll that functionality out.
I love the idea of the collaboration tools. I love the idea of working hand in hand with the learning management systems. Jen and Sam, let me bring you in here and ask you, as far as what we do as tech coaches and working with teachers, why is it important that we teach our teachers not only about these wonderful features, but about working in collaboration with other teachers and other students? Jen, you do a lot with collaboration features.
Absolutely. And I think it just it's made its way into the technology standards in our state and many states as well, because it really is the way that we're interacting with computers and working collegially with other people. So I think traditionally we have, grown up with using, these tools in isolation, creating our documents, sharing them out. And clearly that has changed dramatically. And it just is really powerful in the classroom when students are working on team projects to learn how to do that in a physical space on, on a shared document and stuff, and helping kids to think about how to navigate that space. It's just little things for kids to learn about how to appropriately provide feedback to one another is all part of them being able to collaborate in the same place at the same time.
Sam, what do you think as far as collaboration? Do you work a lot with your teachers on writing lesson plans as a group or creating projects as a group?
Every day, because collaboration is really key to success, right? We've figured out that teaching in a silo doesn't work, and we don't even work in silos anymore. So the idea that any one person is going to be like the sole person responsible for the success of a document is really just setting that one person and the document up for failure.
We are, of course, live here on Tuesday nights on TeacherCast.tv. We do have a great audience tonight. And guys, I have a few questions that are coming in. One of the things that school districts, unfortunately have to deal with is rolling out new software. And I know with the Office 365, as long as you're signed in, you have the latest version. Everything is up there is new. But there is the Office client apps, which you can download. Now, we have a question that came in, which is, what happens if you don't have the most latest up-to-date operating system, or if your school isn't quite on Windows 10 yet, or on a Mac system, if they're not up to the latest operating system? Can you still be in a subscription service where Microsoft is pushing down the latest software if your operating system isn't the most up-to-date?
The answer is yes. I think it will depend to some degree on how not up-to-date we're talking about. But so we have support for a lot of different platforms. We don't only support Windows 10, so we also support older versions of Windows. Additionally, we have support for iPads. We have support for Macs. We have support for, and we have a story even for Chromebooks. And so depending on what you have out in your classroom, in your school district, or what even your students are choosing to use at home, we actually do have an answer. In some cases, it is a piece of client software that's getting updated on a regular basis. And we have a story for more than just Windows 10. But also for people who are more comfortable using a browser, we have a full suite of browser software. And in fact, you can do pretty much everything that you really need to do just in a browser. So if you're using a Chromebook and you just want to use Chrome, then you can do that. And you have Word, Excel, PowerPoint, you have OneDrive for Business, you have eventually we have products that are going to be more targeted at classroom scenarios like Classroom. You have OneNote in the browser. So even if there isn't a version of your product that works on the operating system you're using that's a part of the O365 family, there's always browser support.
One of the things that I hear a lot from many Google users is how wonderful it is to, have multiple people on a Google Doc sharing, collaborating, etc. Many people have never quite seen Microsoft Word being used in a collaborative environment. Would you guys be able to show us off a little bit about what's new in Word 365 and maybe how some of the collaboration features work?
So I think, that's absolutely. We have a document already queued up. Something, so I can share my screen, but maybe just to sort of say a little bit about the experience.
Sure.
We worked extremely hard on building an experience where multiple people can be in a document at the same time. And one of the things that we've heard from a lot of this came from classrooms and from educators is they wanted to make sure that an entire classroom of students could be inside of a document at the same time. And we actually can do that now. So we have our number, we know that you can have 50 people in a document all at the same time and it will still work. So in fact, there's no issue whatsoever in Word, and we're rolling this out for all the other products as well. I believe PowerPoint Online is there as well, and Excel had pretty good scaling and it's working there as well. So we're in the process of moving that across the suite and in fact across all of our endpoints. But what we'll demo today is just 3 people in Word, and I can share my screen, and then we can just sort of show you that we have the same kind of collaborative real-time typing experience that you would expect to get from Google Docs.
Sure. Why don't you set that up? And while we're go ahead.
I was just going to say, yes, it works for PowerPoint, Excel, and OneNote Online too. And the great thing that we're working on is not only collaboration on the web endpoints, we also want to bring in the desktop. So you could have students working on the desktop apps, you could have some of them working on the web, and they could all be in the same document.
I love the fact that you guys just gave a number. I know Jen and you and I have talked about this a lot. Sam and I have talked about this. You know, we all love our Google Docs. We all love our Word docs. But once, especially in the Google side, right, you get more than 10, 15, 20 people in there, everything slows down. And I know our chat box, as soon as you said 50, everybody's sitting here going, yay, this is really cool. So take it away, guys. Show us a little bit about what's new in Word and the collaboration features. So right now I have your screen up.
Great. So this is a document that is in Poonam's OneDrive that she shared with us just before the meeting started. And so Moran and Poonam and I are in this document together, and you can see that there was an indicator on the screen where Moran is. It just shows, and since you're looking at my view, it's not going to be that exciting if I type, but you can see that Moran is actually going to go ahead and type some words. She's actually just moving through the document, so she isn't typing anything at this moment, but hopefully she types in a second. I'll tell you what, I will, and Poonam just left the document. So, but if I can go ahead and type down here, for example, through terrible deforestation. And so essentially there's some typing that happened at the top. And so people are in the document typing, and you can see it just as it happens. And of course, this is the Word experience that you would expect. So while Moran and Poonam are here, and you can see who's here, we have an indicator up at the top right-hand corner. I went too fast. There are the people, and there will be faces here soon as well. And so, for example, it has the same things you'd expect. There's red squiggles to give you spell check. One of the cool new features that we have in Word Online is we have this feature which is called, we're calling it Editor internally. And see, there's this double blue underline under the word effect. I'm just going to highlight it. So if I right-click that word, it shows me that it's not spelled wrong, but it turns out it's the wrong word. So it actually, we think this should actually be affect, not effect. And so we're changing it.
There's a couple questions coming in here on the. Maybe somebody. Can somebody mute? So a couple questions are coming in from our TeacherCast.tv. Is there a revision history when you're dealing with an online version like this?
So we do have version history in OneDrive today, but it is not as rich or fully featured, I think, as most people would hope. It requires that you look at different versions of the document. So if somebody makes a change you don't like, you do have the ability to go back to a previous version. We are right now in the process of building out a richer experience for that. I don't have a specific timeline, but that is very, very high on our list of features we need to build that we know there's a high demand for.
Excellent. I'm always impressed with how beautiful this looks. It's very, very clean, and I love how easy it is to get around here. Would you be able to show us some of the other neat things that you can do here in Word?
So, absolutely. So basically, in many ways, this is simply the Word that you expect it to be. It does not have every feature that the desktop client has, but we spent a lot of time thinking through what sorts of features, like a lot of the features that we've added were specifically added to make sure that we accounted for the scenarios we expected students to run into. And so, for example, we have a full set of page layout options. So if you need to set your spacing to a particular spacing, or you need to change your page size, we support page sizes, including custom page size. You need to set specific margins, you can do that, including custom margins. So we know that that there are specific requirements that teachers bring, whether it's specific MLA style or whatever. So we have made sure we provide support for that. Additionally, because of the needs of students, we have things like we support headers and footers, so you can add a header, you can add a footer to the document. I'm not going to actually do that at this second, but we have the support for the feature, as well as page numbers, of course, which is when you're thinking in terms of a web tool, you might imagine there are certain tools out there that really focus just on the writing experience, but we understand that there are still core scenarios like having to be able to print a paper out and hand it in sometimes, or even if it isn't being handed in, still have it be formatted in a certain way. So we support inserting traditional footnotes and inserting traditional endnotes. Features like that are, we knew that they were important for education scenarios, so we added them. And then there's some nice things, like I'm just going to go ahead and add something right now in the bottom of this document. Yeah, I didn't have focus. Hang on one sec. So for some reason, my keyboard is not. I wonder why that's not working.
So one of the things that I find people use Word for is newsletters, making things that they can then email out to their staff. Could you talk a little bit about, or maybe even give some tips and tricks on how to do something like this? We have a lot of text, we have paragraph styles, we have a nice picture. How could you format this using Word rather than maybe doing a big copy and paste out to Publisher or some other publishing tool? How can you really make this look nice as a newsletter? What kind of features does Word have for your administrative staff that's looking to do something in that newsletter format?
Well, so I was actually to be fully transparent, the layout features that we currently have in Word Online, while we support everything that you can do in the Word desktop client, Word Desktop has a lot of features specifically targeted at laying out a picture in a particular place, doing things like word art. There are ways to make a document feel a little bit more like a published thing, whereas in Word Online, our focus has been much more on providing an experience that was streamlined to the experience that we believe matters most, which ultimately is creating relatively simple documents and providing a canvas on which people can collaborate on content. So even though this is a Word document behind the scenes and you can open it up and you can see there's an edit in Word button, and I could click that and it would take me to it would take me directly to the Word experience, and that would still be operating against the same document in Poonam's OneDrive, and I wouldn't need to actually change. I don't have to download the file or anything like that. So our desktop client can operate against OneDrive just like the web client can. But honestly, the layout options in Word Online are more limited. However, that doesn't mean you can't do anything. You still have access to things like table style. So if I want to make this table look prettier, I can absolutely do that. I can select table styles much like you can do in the desktop client, including selecting different colors. So if I prefer orange, I can set that up. We still have the standard styles you'd expect, so you can still use titles and headings and all of the stuff you'd expect from an application. Really, the biggest limitation of the online app is, while I just inserted this picture right before we started talking, and I could go ahead and insert another picture in the document, and that's fairly easy. And because it's an online app, I can go ahead here and I can insert a picture of, it's the Amazon rainforest, so I'm pretty sure it's full of ants. And so there's a picture of an ant, and that's actually too friendly. It's an Amazon ant, so let's pick that one. That one looks a little less friendly. And it can insert that picture from the internet, and now that's in the document. So things like that are extremely simple and streamlined, and as you'd expect them to be. But if I wanted to now lay that out, that is still something that we're working to deliver. You can transition to the Win32 client, that's the desktop client, and achieve a lot more in terms of layout. But for sort of core scenarios, you can insert pictures, you can make headings look with a purple background or however you want. So it's not that we can't do a lot of things, but for the really rich editing, I would still go back to using the desktop client for those scenarios.
And really, that's one of those layouts that I have working on too. I'll be working on something. I'm still getting a timeout. We're still getting a little bit of an echo there. Somebody, Can we mute on somebody? There you go. So that's one of those workstations that I have. I sometimes work through Office 365 online, and then I have the Office 365, the Drive client go down, and then I work on it on my Office apps. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. I have everybody over here on TeacherCast.tv really applauding and really, really loving some of the features. So, Sam, there's a lot of neat things that we can do these days in the world of tables and spreadsheets, and I'm certainly interested in looking to see what's going on these days. Let's see. Moran, why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on in Excel?
Of course. So in Excel and Excel Online, which is basically I think the best app to collect data. So when talking with teachers, we see that they really like to use it in the classroom when working on things, for example, in science class on a lab report. Okay, so they're using Excel in order to collect the data, to bring it to one place, and then to transform it to Insight. Excel offer to the teachers a very easy and nice way to transfer the data to a formatted table. And quickly you can sort, you can filter your data, and you can add so many types of charts. So we have many new and cool charts, and we have things that can actually save you a lot of time, like a flash fill that I will be able to demo in a second, formatting as a table in one click, and we have a new forms in Excel Online as well. So for the one that is familiar with the Excel survey, now we switch to the new forms app, which basically work as you expected, but much, much better. And it says a live update into Excel Online.
Excellent. Would you be able to share with?
Okay, great. So I just want to give you some reference if after this session you would like to know more about Excel Online and tips and tricks specifically for EDU. So we have a site called docs.com, and you can go to Excel demos there. And there are so many files in general that gives a great tips and tricks on Excel. But there is another file which will give you a specific tips and tricks how to use Excel Online in your classroom. It's called Tips and Tricks for EDU, and this is the one that I'm going to use in order to demo. Okay, so let's start with a really cool feature that we have in Excel Online that really can save you time. So let's say that you need to prepare a list of your student's name, okay? Simple as that. So you can see I just have the student email, and now I want to transform it really quickly to the student first name. You don't need to go and type it one by one, right? This is not so productive. So you can just go and type the student first name and do it, let's say, just for two students. And then if you will go to data and click flash fill, so it's basically will identify the patterns of your data and will autofill it for you. Very cool.
So it sees that you're making a list from a certain class and dumps in the rest of that class list.
Yes, for example, yes, but it can identify any patterns in your data. So from this student email, I could actually extract the first name, the last name, the domain name, and it can work with any set. But the only requirement is that it will have some common thing that actually repeating it, some pattern in the data. Okay, and this is really can save you time. And this is one example. Another thing that I wanted to, just to make sure that everyone are familiar with, is how easy it is to transform set of data or range of data to a table. Okay, so let's say that I have just like I have the student name and I have the grade. Okay, and I want to, let's say that I'm typing it really quickly here. And now I want to be able to just make it as a table. So you just can go here and click Control L, and you have a table, you have a color banded table, and you can actually filter by that and sort and so on. Okay, just one click, Control L, and you have a table, or that you can go to the ribbon from home and click Format as a table here. Okay, this is another option. And the last thing that I would like to show you today is what I just discussed. Let's say you finish your class and you would like to get feedback on your class, or you want to have some questionnaire in the class, you can go to form and just add a new form. Okay, this will take you, this is right now, it's been rolled in our education segment only. It's not exposed to everyone, just to the education market, but this will take you right away to the Forms for Excel app, and you can just have, let's say, questions and how much you like Excel online. Okay, and you can type the question, and once you save and actually share this form, you will get live responses directly in Excel online. Okay, so let's say that I just very much, right? We don't have too many options, just or very much or a lot. So
I love the
What
idea
other
of
options do you need?
Go ahead.
yeah, that's it, right? Enough. And now I want to, let's say that I didn't share it yet, but if I want to go and check responses, it will take me back to Excel online. It's the same sheet, and will just show me the responses that I have. Okay, it's going to create a new sheet which is dedicated for this form, and when someone answered, I just will get it lively. So it's really cool, like a nice example for some session that you can have in the class. If you want to get the let's say that you have a class vote that you need to have, so you can share this questionnaire, and then you can share the screen with this Excel online open and see lively how the responses are being gathered and collected, and the students just love it. So this is just a taste what we have now in Excel online. If you want to learn more things, you can go to this Excel online. Of course, that we have all our cool chart like the tree map, funnel, histogram. All the data and instruction are already in the file. So I'm really encourage everyone to go there and learn more.
I think it looks really, really easy to use. I think it also looks really, really neat, and how easy it is. Just in a few clicks, this can work. But looking at everything we're doing here in Word and Excel, I always want to ask about the mobile apps and the mobile app experience. When I'm on my phone or my tablet, are some of these features available in the mobile browsers or in the mobile versions of Word, Excel, Online, PowerPoint?
So I can take that. So you're able to view your documents on the mobile web version. To do some editing, we do have mobile apps, both for iPhones and Android phones. You can download the mobile apps and you can do a lot of editing, a lot of reading of the documents on your mobile phones also. In addition to mobile phones, we also support tablets. So Android, iPads, Windows tablets, our apps do work on those too.
So with everything that we were looking at here in Word and Excel, I want to take a moment and take a look at PowerPoint. One of my favorite features, as we were discussing at the top of the show, is the ability to take a slide and find the content on it and have PowerPoint really help us make something look nice. Why don't you show us a little bit about how that works?
So is this coming through properly this time?
Yep, looks great.
Great. Okay. So, so what we were going to try and do today is create a title slide for a lesson that a teacher is teaching, let's say, on the early solar system. And in order to create this slide, all you have is some text on the slide, and you can go in and you can insert pictures online. So let's say I'm going to look for a picture of the solar system. Pick a picture, do an insert. And you see how quickly, as soon as I inserted the picture, PowerPoint Designer is providing design ideas for how this slide can be made much prettier than just a text and picture. And you can navigate through these different options. You can see which one you like. And let's say I'm going to go with this one. And that's it. That's all it takes to go ahead and create a beautiful slide with PowerPoint Designer. The one other thing that I'd like to show for designers, so the most common thing that we do with PowerPoint is bullet points. Like everybody that I know uses list items in PowerPoint Online. You can now take list items on PowerPoint Online, like the ones we are showing, step 1, step 2, step 3. You can go into the Design tab, click on Design Ideas, and look at what PowerPoint gives back to you. So this is again the designer service that's taking text that you entered and creating some kind of a smart art out of the text that was entered. All done very automatically, makes your slides look much prettier and much more faster to go ahead and create content.
That's pretty neat. And I have not seen that feature on other slide producing applications. Sam, what kinds of things can we do with this as far as working with our students? Because, again, our students are out there trying just to put a ton of content on it. It seems like this design feature really is made for helping people just make beautiful looking presentations.
Well, ultimately, we're trying to help our kids make good decisions. And it seems like this feature gives them kind of contextualized decisions, right? It narrows it down to a certain number of choices that are appropriate, and then they can help, they can make the best one of those. So I like that a lot.
Jen, what are you thinking especially when you're working with some of your younger teachers and your younger students? How might we see us using some of these features? Because I know some of these features are available in the other products, but certainly not that one with the bullet points.
No, I think that the ability for students to feel successful without, struggling through what sometimes are too many choices. I agree with what Sam said, to give them kind of a list of options that are still allowing them choice, but then giving them, good choices is really wise. And when kids can see examples of what looks right, then if they try to create something that's outside of that, they're going to be better prepared to recognize that. So I think that it's going to lead to student success a lot quicker, and for kids to feel really proud about what they're doing when they're making some of their first presentations.
I definitely want to echo that, and really what we're here to talk about, and really what, everything that we're doing as educators is to focus on student success and student achievement. And it certainly looks like some of these great features that we're talking about today in Office 365, both in the standalone and on the online version, are set up so that way students don't have to worry about the tech, don't have to worry about the buttons, and can just basically focus on the content and the curricular things. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for coming on here and sharing with us some of the great things that are happening here. I know the question that we have in our chat box is, where can we get a hold of you guys if we have any questions, or where do we go to learn more information? Nick, where's a good place to go?
So we have a user voice. So if you're used to using user voice, you can go and you can put feedback in. There's a Word Online and a PowerPoint Online and an Excel Online user voice for feedback. Also, if you use our product, there's an opportunity to send us direct feedback in the product. So there is a link in the product where you can simply send us feedback. I'm just going to check and make sure it's actually there.
There it is.
There it is. So basically, you can send us, you can say you like something, you don't like something, you have a suggestion, and that goes directly to us. We read all of that feedback. We have a whole set of people who spend their time analyzing that feedback. I don't read we get a lot of feedback. We have millions of users, but we actually use that feedback, both to guide our decisions about what we do next, and to actually find issues with the product, so that it's a part of the data that we use to figure out whether we've done things right or not.
Very, very cool. And I always recommend anybody, if you're using one of these great products and there's a survey that says, tell us what you think, take it. If there's a opportunity to share great information, take it. I've said this on the program many times. Microsoft and the Microsoft education team is one of the most responsive organizations out there. They are always on Twitter, always on Facebook, always working to help out educators to make sure that you guys have exactly what you need. So please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions or with any help. Poonam, where do we get a hold of you?
So I am, for all the MIEs out there, I am on the MIE Facebook page. I'm also following Microsoft in Education Twitter. So just reach out to me either via some of the channels that Nick talked about or through the Facebook page for MIEs.
Very cool. Nick, where do we find you?
Well, I will define me directly.
Do you have a Twitter? Do you want to, if anybody wants to say, hi, Nick, how you doing?
So I do have a Twitter. I don't use it that much. Maybe it's time to dust it off. But I think the best way to reach out is honestly, if you want to make customer feedback, the best way is through feedback. But my Twitter handle is @CanadianNick.
Excellent. @CanadianNick. And Moran, where do we find you?
So same as Poonam, I'm on the MIE Facebook and in the same channels, user voice and the feedback that we have in the app.
Very, very cool. Jen, tell us a little bit about what you have coming up soon on teachingforward.net. Any nice blog posts that you might have recently put out?
I just posted one yesterday about some quick ways to manage lots of user data with Google Forms, and always new stuff coming up about every week or so.
Very, very cool. And of course, one of the top educational blogs, My Paperless Classroom. Sam, what do you have going on now that you're after South by Southwest and after the Q conference? What comes up next for you?
Well, we've got a couple issues of Beyond the Hour of Code coming out soon. We were talking to Cano at both South by Southwest and Q. Lots of exciting stuff coming up.
And of course, you can find this and all of our shows over on TeacherCast.net, where you can find not only our great series on Ask the Tech Coach and educational podcasting today, but you can check out this and all of our shows over at TeacherCast.net/audio and TeacherCast.net/video. On behalf of everybody here on the TeacherCast Educational Broadcasting Network, my name is Jeff Bradbury, a proud Microsoft Innovative Educator, saying on behalf of everybody here, keep up the great work in your classrooms and continue sharing your passions with your